You ever sit back and realize that you were forced to grow up too fast? Like one day you were just this kid watching Saturday morning cartoons. The next, you understand things you really shouldn't, like loss, guilt, fear. Today, we're diving into something a little bit deep. We're talking about what it means to lose your childhood innocence too early, and what anime can teach us about that. Let's start with the Elrich Brothers, Edward and Alphonse. The moment they tried to bring their mum back from the dead using alchemy, they committed the ultimate taboo, and they paid for it. With limbs, with bodies, with trauma. Quote from Hiromu Arakawa, "I wanted to show that strength comes from not running away from pain. This wasn't just about magic going wrong, it was a metaphor, a symbol of what happens when kids are exposed to things they were never meant to handle." According to developmental psychology, around age 7 to 11, kids enter Piaget's concrete operational stage, where they understand cause and effect but not abstract consequences like death or moral guilt. The Elrich brothers, they got thrown into abstract consequences head first. Their innocence was the toll they paid at the gate, and what replaced it? A relentless need for redemption, a desperation to make things right no matter the cost. They don't get to be kids anymore. They became state weapons, soldiers, just like how some of us had to become emotional soldiers in a way, way too early. Some of us were actual soldiers way too early. Goon freaks, the happy-go-lucky kid with a fishing rod, who turns into a furious cold monster by the end of the Chimera Ant arc. That arc is something else. It's when a show stops being an adventure anime and starts being a psychological case study in grief and repressed rage. Goon's transformation isn't cool. I mean, it's cool, but it really isn't cool. It's horrifying. He literally sacrifices his future, his potential, his life energy just to get revenge. And growing up where I grew up in South London, I saw a lot of that going on. Togashi once said, "I wanted to show the darkness in the human heart, even in a child." What Goon experiences is what psychologists call trauma-induced developmental arrest. That means his emotional maturity stops developing when he's overwhelmed by grief. We often celebrate characters growing up too fast, but Goon doesn't grow up. He snaps. The cost of Kite's death breaks him. He's the embodiment of every kid who had to become emotionally numb just to survive. And if you've been that kid, you know how real that mask can feel. And then there's Guts, the ultimate case study in stolen innocence. Born from a corpse, raised in blood, and abused by people who were meant to protect him. In a 2000 interview, Kentaro Miura says, "Berserk is about rage, but also about how people keep going, even when they shouldn't be able to." Guts doesn't even get a childhood. He gets a battlefield and Griffith. Griffith is the promise that maybe, just maybe, if you follow the dream, you'll escape it all. Until he betrays that dream. And we all know the scene I know the scene you're thinking of right now. The eclipse is a final nail. When Casca is violated and Guts is forced to watch, that moment is more than trauma. It's a metaphor for everything good being defiled. Guts' story shows how people create emotional armor just to survive. PTSD, hypervigilance, rage, all symptoms of what can happen when innocence is replaced with violence. In psychology, there's a concept called adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs. High ACE scores correlate with lifelong problems like addiction, broken relationships, anxiety, even early death. Guts' ACE score would have been off the charts. So why does this matter? Because fiction helps us process real life. Anime is exaggerated, sure, but the emotions, they're real. Edward, Goon, Guts, they all show us what it means to grow up too early. How pain gets buried, how rage gets misdirected, how the world doesn't wait for you to be ready. You ever wonder why these stories hit so hard? It's because some part of us remembers that moment that we stopped being kids. Whether it was a death, a betrayal, or just having to be the strong one all the time. We feel that loss. the echo of it. And these stories, they allow us to grieve it. So if you resonated with this, you're not alone. These stories don't glorify pain, they honor the survival. Let me know in the comments which character hit you the hardest, and any other characters you can think of that I guess didn't have a childhood or had similar experiences to the characters I mentioned. And if you're still healing, that's okay. It's a process, it's a journey. Thanks for watching. I'm out.